Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Good afternoon, wherever you're watching in Victoria, across the nation, or indeed around the world. Welcome for the final time in the regular season at least to George Andrews Reserve on a glorious Saturday afternoon in Melbourne's southeast. Round 24 of the National Premier League in Victoria, and it poses another important game at both ends of the table. The Thunder can restore a 5-point lead in third, and with current events at Paisley Park can close the gap in second to Avondale, whereas Victory come here 6 points from safety and needing to do what no other side has done so far this season, and that is beat the Thunder on their own patch. This could be the perfect swan song for the red and black corner of this town for this season. They are yet to lose here, one of only a few sides to do so in the league. But for Melbourne Victory, time for survival is running out. Having been promoted to Victoria's top flight, they now must harness the fearlessness only found by youth to fight their way out of trouble. And when these two met earlier this season on a moody Monday at the home of the Matildas in late April, Dandenong Thunder won a 7-goal thriller 4-3 in a terrific topsy-turvy tangle, which was topped by Luka Kolic's hardly believable goal. That was a result which halted Victory's bright start to the season. It also put them on a run of 7 straight defeats. Against the same side this afternoon which started that rot, Victory now must end it if they are to retain their top flight standing. My name's Ethan Rigg, and I'm joined in the commentary this afternoon by Neil Simons. Good evening, Neil.
Good afternoon, actually.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Very rarely do we get afternoon games at George Andrews. I think the last time which there was an afternoon fixture, especially on a Saturday, was most likely the final day of the NPL Victoria season last year when I believe it was a loss to Moreland City on the final day, as it was. So tonight, it takes a very different complexion. This afternoon, should I say. I've almost used your words, Ethan, but we'll take you through the starting lineups of the game for this afternoon. Victory lineup with number 8, Lucas Alessi. Number 2, Linus Burke. Number 4, Daniel Bozanovsky. Number 15, Nicholas Savicovic is on the bench. Sorry, my apologies. Number 30, Daniel Gotaskowski. Number 26, a returning Luka Kolic after his mandatory break. Recently signed a scholarship contract as well with the club as Daniel Clark fires it over the bar. Number 11, Daniel Lazarevsky. Number 8, George Mihalidis. Number 13, George Paikolopoulos. Number 6, Kane Rasmovsky. Number 22, Patrick Wall. Number 20, Parker Williams. For the Dandenong Thunder, number 3, Daniel Alessi. Number 10, Daniel Clark. Number 11, Wade Decker. Number 9, Wade Decker, should I say. On the team sheet, he's listed as number 11. Number 24, Ben Jibba. Number 6, Aidan Edwards. Number 14, Hassan Jallo. Number 5, Mersim Meti. Number 12, Jay Romanovsky sits on the bench and drops out for tonight. Number 8, Carl Taylor. Number 7, Yuki Uchida. Number 15, the captain, Thijs van Amberongen. And number 1, Jamie Young.
Certainly two very strong sides going into this afternoon. A game of a fair bit of importance as Rasmovsky tries to get around Yoshida. Taylor tried to make the challenge. Edwards does. It finds its way to Clark, who spun away. Jallo was on the march. Decker was going the other way. Clark was held up well. Had to retreat for Mehmeti, who gave it and got it back from Edwards. Van Amerongen, who once again has the armband in the Dandenong sunshine. Alessi. As we've mentioned, very, very rare that we get an afternoon game at George Andrews. This was initially going to be a Monday night one before being rescheduled to the Saturday.
It was initially at 7 p.m, but it's been moved to the afternoon. I think there is a, most likely, as we know with this community, in a big event tonight that would probably cause a postponement or rescheduling of this fixture. So it's good to see the community in willingness and in one shape. Here's Yuki Yoshida bearing down in that attacking channel. He's got space to his left. Here's Daniel Clark weaving around across the area. Looks the shape went in, and it's delivered well, but it falls to the feet of the young Victory boys. Here is Razlarevsky. Out to that right-hand side is Patrick Wall. He's got space in the opening channels, but the Dutch centre-half, Van Amerongen, is able to clear out of harm's way, but Lazarevsky and the Victory press is able to subdue the pressure enforced by the Thunder. Rolled across the face. A very neat touch and a deft strike on goal. It was. But it's high and wide out of play.
Just didn't quite catch it as sweetly as he would have liked. Did George Michailidis. But a couple of promising signs for a Melbourne Victory at the start. They do need to win, of course. Altona's defeat last night, meaning the gap stays at 6, but they are running out of time. After this round, they'll only have 2 games to gather those 6 points. Young finds Decker. Took a touch. Burke was trying to hustle him, recycled it to Mehmeti, who speared it for Jallow, who's in the channel. Hassan Jallow has wriggled away and is through already. Jallow has rolled it wide to the far corner. Golden chance for the Thunder, who went direct. And Jallow, having done all the hard work, couldn't apply the finishing touch.
Well, he's had 10 plus goals this season, has Hassan Jallow. You know, diminutive and bulldozer-esque striker. Just had a really good shape to fire it into the bottom right corner. Took his time with the strike, but fortunately for him, it just wriggled way past the net of Daniel Gaskowski, who of course also returned from his break. He's also on a scholarship contract, and it looks like, as things currently stand, well, more or less, is the backup keeper at the Victory with Mitch Langerak's retirement. So it shapes to be a very intriguing season for him. Of course, did feature in that second half against Wrexham a few weeks ago as well. And also mentioned one of the other, well, incomings, if you will, in one George Michailidis, who returns from Austria, Vienna, after a brief stint over there. Of course, his brother Jack Michailidis is firmly involved with the setup here at the Victory. Here's Carl Taylor. He's got space to roam, but opts to find his centre-half partner, and Mersim Mehmeti back with Jamie Young. This week, in fact, not even 24 hours ago, the Dandenong Thunder announced the re-signing of Adam Pittock for a further 2 seasons. Not something we often see in the NPL Victoria, to announce contract coach extensions. But nonetheless, that decision has been made. And Ethan, I'd have to say, duly deserved 2-year extension for Adam Pittock. He's completely rejuvenated and transformed the nature of this football club.
Certainly has. He's brought joy and jubilation to anyone who's come to George Andrews this season, or anyone who's been with the Thunder on their travels. And he was most delighted to sign that extension. Mehmeti, searching ball, found Decker down the line. Just looking to work his way back inside. Mehmeti wanted a 1-2, nearly deflected for Taylor. Victory able to clear their lines. Lazarevsky lost out to Alessi. Razmovsky tried to work it down the line. Jiba, who made his first start upon return from injury last week, finds Yoshida, who is occupying that right flank once again. He was at the double against Knights last Saturday night. He finds Jiba, who's skipped his way inside. Around 1, around 2. Edwards. Alessi, and they go all the way home for Van Amerongen, who's driven it wide for Decker. Down the line was Clark, who's onside this time. Tried a quick return, but in retreat, Luka Kolic comes across to clear his lines.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see Kane Razmovsky, of course, back with the Victory. Did sign his scholarship contract a few weeks ago as well, alongside Luka Kolic, who, well, he actually signed a scholarship last year, but Victory phrased it as him being brought up to the first team again this season. So very intriguing utilisation of words, but nonetheless, yeah, it's interesting to see the way that the Victory have shaped up today. Luka Alessi's been sort of come in the last few weeks, and of course Alex Lee has returned to the club, hasn't featured in the NPL much. So it's intriguing to see the approach has been taken. John Radamis's also made the bench against the Kingsway last week, during the week it was. So that's a fantastic ball towards Patrick Wall. He's got a very difficult angle to work with as he works it towards the byline, shifted across the face. It's Luka Kolic, and I think his eyes lit up with joy. And when he realised Jamie Young was in goal once again, he tried the acrobatics, although it didn't bear fruition as it did on that very cold Monday night a few months ago it was.
I was about to say, Kolic, no stranger to the spectacular. Wall with a tidy stand-up to find him. Victory's top scorer this season, nearly turned provider. In the end, it was just hooked rather high. Young, that's a lovely ball to find Clark. He's turned away from two, moved it on to Taylor. Decker's now down the line again. Looking to have room to roam. He wanted to go at Burke, who stood him up well. Mehmeti. Van Amerongen. Out the other side for Daniel Alessi. Edwards, who's just dropped in. Immediately pressed by two, found Chiba. Thunder taking their time, trying to work their way through this victory press. Young, Edwards, Alessi. This time again with loft towards Jallo, who's done well to take it down. Invited the challenge of Williams. And then Alessi on hand again with loft. Jallo once more, tasked with the hold-up. This time with a bit more fortune. Took a deflection off Chiba, and the Thunder will keep it.
Debena Ambani on the bench this afternoon. Another fascinating choice, of course, has been one of the standouts from this victory. 11 throughout the entirety of the season. And, of course, James Lackey has also come in recent months to come off the bench. And those two are dynamite. So it'll be very intriguing to see if they get on the park. Port Melbourne's draw with Dandenong City last night leaves the victory now in second last place. So a win tonight will keep their hopes of survival just about alive, as that ball's nearly shaped in towards Yuki Uchida. It's Wall, and Taylor knocks it over to Mersim Mehmeti. And Amerongen, under pressure, plays it back towards Jamie Young. Diligent player with his feet, and will take his time as he always does. Here's Aiden Edwards, back to Jamie Young. Thunder are away just about. Uchida shapes it in the central channel for Clark, who spots the right run from Benjiba. Throw in ensuing. Of course, Benjiba suffered that injury following that incredible win at home against Preston earlier in the campaign. That return fixture to come in the next few weeks. And so to Ali Soleimani, who's had that ankle fracture which kept him out for 8 weeks. It's back with Mersim Mehmeti. Van Amerongen. Alessi. Now Young. Van Amerongen. The Thunder want to dictate things on their terms, Ethan, and that's been sort of much of the course of their campaign. Of course, a resounding 4-0 win last week against the Melbourne Knights, which is essentially, well, not mathematically relegated, but just about.
Knights would need to be perfect and would need everything to align if that great escape was to happen. They did pick up a point last night against Hume, just to keep things a little closer at the bottom. The one thing the Victory do have going for them is they've picked up more points on their travels than any other side in the bottom three. Decker, who was pressed hotly. Works it back for Clark. Taylor, who's just shifted a bit wide. Clark. Van Amerongen. Out the other way to Alessi. Edwards had dropped in. Yoshida too. Yuki Yoshida made it work and then was bundled over. Edwards on quickly. Van Amerongen. Taylor, who's just worked a yard for himself. Decker's dropped in. Mehmeti. Van Amerongen. Just about evaded the press. Squeezed it through to Alessi. Down the line for Jiba, who has again wanted to work his way inside. down that right flank. Overlaps between him and Yoshida, something the Thunder have used to great effect this season. Certainly at this ground. Mehmeti. All the way back for Van Amerongen. Victory press holding firm. He gets it back from Jamie Young. Mehmeti. Decker drop deep. Tidy read. Cycled all the way back for Burke, who's giving it away to Jallo, who can now drive. Yoshida's up with him. Decker as well. Yuki Yoshida is on the march and has rattled it into the bottom corner. The Thunder accept a gift. Jallo kept his cool and Yoshida drove it in with certainty.
He is a man who is certainly going to be in the running for the NPL Victoria gold medal, and time and time again, the almost lackadaisical nature in which he takes the ball in stride and is able to deliver assists and goals with such ease is what frightens defenders at every waking moment. And that was a delightful touch and a delightful piece of play from the Thunder to anticipate the inexperience of the Victory defence, and they take a duly deserved 1-0 lead.
Thunder's two top scorers combining. Both started the day on 11. Yoshida now holds the lead with 12 this season. And didn't he take that terrifically? And just as it stands, they close the gap on the top two. And Victory now have it all to do.
Well, here is now Damian Bozanovsky. Has he got quite the task this afternoon to galvanise his team towards survival in the NPL Victoria? And here is now Ben Jibba. Uchida in space for College it was initially, and it's back with Kyle Taylor now. Here's Mersim Mehmeti. Of course, his brother, Mehdi Mehmeti, is a frequent supporter of his games, and of course a former Thunder junior, of course, as well. Edwards back towards Alessi. There's a litany of experience across the A-League with the Western Sydney Wanderers under Tony Popovich, as well as Newcastle Jets. Arrives from Sydney. Space for Hassan Jallo. He's able to bypass the initial run from Mihalidis, and Raskowski fires it long. Lazarevsky, deft touch, slightly heavy, and it looks like Daniel Clark slipped on his feet. Razmovsky. It's been played in a central channel today. It's also deputised often on the right side of defence. And Mersim Mehmeti is going to leave that out for a goal kick. All too easy for Jamie Young to take. And, well, the Thunder are dictating games most definitely on their terms.
Clark did take a bit of a stumble. It's been a bit of a damp week in this part of the world. Thankfully, the sunshine's come out on Saturday. And the team known for their fast starts, once again in a quarter of an hour, have the lead. Young finds Clark, who clips it round the corner for Taylor, who can now get on the drive. Decker is down the line and rapidly advancing up against Burke. Wanted Clark quickly again. Mihalidis coming across to clear his lines. And in fact, did very well to play it off Daniel Clark. Meaning that Victory just get themselves out of a bit of a tricky situation. However, that's given away to Edwards. Touched it on for Yoshida. Important block made by Razmovsky. Van Amerongen, who has been wrestled. Lost it out to Luka Kolic, who's looked to go down the line. Victory in with a quick opportunity. Chiba with a solid challenge. Alessi there to clean it up. Decker on for Taylor. And Jallo has timed that to perfection. He's in again. Hassan Jallo went first time and didn't catch it as cleanly as he would have wanted to.
Oh, yeah, it's very difficult to misjudge that attempt from Deno Graskowski. I have to say, he was very well much positioned and has been more or less in the firing line in recent weeks with a few important matches in pre-season, as well as, of course, Australia Cup was a good experience for him to travel across to Western Australia, in which there was plenty of Victory players that did feature in that game. Luka Kolic was one of them, came off the bench late on in that contest. Here is Patrick Wall. We're going to spot the run of the aforementioned Luka Kolic. turning 21 in September. And many will remember when he broke onto the scene as an 18-year-old at Melbourne Knights. It's good to see him involved in the professional setup. As George Mihalidis gives away the foul. Are you a fan of the skinhead cut for George Mihalidis?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
I like it. It's a bit of personality. Good to see. Van Amerongen. Out towards Alessi. Young. Hasn't quite been forced into action this afternoon so far. Marshalling instructions to his defence, and they've played out of the victory press with ease. Here's Daniel Clark. Willie Victorian veteran out to a fellow ex-Oakley Cannon teammate in Wade Decker, who's lost possession by virtue of Linus Burke. Striding forward was Luka Kolic, like a gazelle almost, as he shifts it laterally towards the left flank. John Pankopoulos, ex-Nunawading City Junior, moved across to victory in 2021. And of course, Nunawading City, haven't they got quite the Australia Cup fixture next Sunday at Nasiol Stadium, the home of Hume City, as they face off against the Wellington Phoenix. Not quite close to Nunawading though, is Hume. So 45-kilometre drive if you face that. If you're a Nunawading City supporter, I'm not sure if John will be in attendance, but of course a junior club. It's always good to see that VPL2 teams can be giant killers in the Oz Cup.
It's certainly been a round of cup sets in the Australia Cup. Melbourne victory, as we've mentioned, know a little all too well about that. But for Nunawading City, what a night that could be against Wellington Phoenix. Alessi. Again forced all the way back. The Thunder have played through the press rather well, but it still has been that final ball which has prevented them from adding to their lead. Burke has done well against Decker. Young, Taylor read that well. Clark touched it back to him. Tidily won in by Wall. Recycled by Razmovsky, Bozanovsky. Victory looking to play their way round. Williams retreats all the way to his keeper. Might now be Melbourne Victory's turn to play through the Thunder press. Williams went down the line. Tidy turn around the corner. And just when they thought they'd won it, they'd lost it. However, it'll be brought back for a free kick.
An update around the grounds, as many may know, it's essentially the title securing game for the Heidelberg United tonight if they're able to secure that win against Avondale. It's still currently at 1-0. An opening goal coming in late in the first half from Bull George, the Raging Bull. So keep an eye on that, as that does affect the permutations for the faint chances of the Dandenong Thunder securing national second-tier status. I'm sure Avondale will be on the charge in that second half. Here do come the Thunder on that right flank. Razmovsky sends it into the Kamiot Raksepi grandstand, which isn't as populated as you would expect on a cool Saturday evening. Entering the 22nd minute in this tie. Linus Burke. Kolic. His pass intercepted, but still does find the target of Patrick Wall. Mihalidis. Burke. Across to Bozanovsky. Believe he's also within the frame for a potential scholarship contract. The teenager. You would imagine at the very least has been fantastic since he came back from his injury. And the foul is given away by the Victory, perhaps cheaply, and given a very good account of themselves this campaign. Looked at one point that they would have escaped this relegation battle altogether, although it's caught up very quickly to them. Clark Nice lateral ball for Wade Decker. Back to Messim Mehmeti. This is the way that Adam Pittock team set up, is build from the back and transition to the forward line. That is the key. Patience is a virtue. Young fashions it out wide for Alessi. Taylor with a neat leave. That's a diligent first touch. Fantastic. Here is Benjiba, who's offside. What a beautiful piece of play it was from Kyle Taylor with a deft touch to send his side forward, but it wasn't quite to be.
Chiba just didn't quite time it right. But that is where the Thunder have been so dangerous so far, when they've got those overloads, particularly down the flanks right, and have broken the victory press. They've found a lot of joy. Bozanovsky. Search long. Alessi, always the best to win it. Yoshida. For Alessi, Van Amerongen. See the Thunder again just exercising patience. Edwards and Taylor drop in, as does Decker. Gets it from Mehmeti. Clark, who met with two around him. Daniel Clark kept it in just about. Decker now pressed by Burke, who brought him down in the process. Another Thunder free kick. Nearly 25 minutes gone at George Andrews. Yuki Yoshida via Hassan Jallo's ball, the grateful recipient of a gift that victory gave them. Edwards. Alessi. Back for Jamie Young. Just at the moment, it means that not only would the Thunder do the double over victory this season, it also means that they pick up maximum points from all of the sides in the bottom three. Yet to drop just even one. Only Avondale have matched them, and the only other team who have an opportunity to do so are on the other side of town. Victory again working their way out of trouble well. Razmovsky lost out to Edwards. Alessi on for Jallo, touched it back. Tried to divert it for Decker with height. Decker did brilliantly and has moved it on for Clark. Once again they're streaming forwards. Clark against Bozanovsky, tried to be tidy and work it for Decker. But Graskowski did very well to get off his line and mop it up.
The victory will look to stream forward themselves, although with patience, not the ferocity that you come to expect from this young side on that very nice pitch at the home of the Matildas. A little bit more bumpy here at George Andrews Reserve. Bozanovsky. Cross now to Parker Williams. Ex-Glen Ira youth product prior to stints at Central Coast Mariners and Western United. Alessi goes to ground and is awarded the free kick.
Razmovsky waited on his runners. Alessi made the challenge. College clipped it over the top tidily. Chiba in retreat did superbly as Alessi was lurking. Chiba nearly ran himself into trouble. Squeezed it through to Yoshida. Couldn't get around Razmovsky, who rattled his challenge into touch.
The game very much has a stop-start feel to it. Neither side able to find consistent rhythm, but it's just the name of the game at the moment with this competition. And the Thunder, it's a routine act as they seemingly give away the throw-in very cheaply, as the victory will look to recharge and reset. Uchida, Jallo, nice little 1-2 touch, eventually forced away out to the right-hand touchline. Benjiba will be the intended target for the throw-in. Just about. Here's Uchida. That's neat from Benjiba, who just couldn't quite find the player intended for that deft touch to the right-hand side, and the victory will take the goal kick.
Bozanovsky Around the corner for Linus Burke, who's pressed by Decker. Wanted ball down the line. Played it up before he could find him. Just with those Thunder opportunities in the last few minutes or so, with each going astray, Adam Piddick has become equally more frustrated. They do have a corner, however. Decker was squeezed out of it by Razmovsky. But a chance to add another from a set piece. Fortnights ago against Port Melbourne, both of them came from set pieces in a 2-0 win. Their first opportunity this afternoon. Taylor, short for Clark. Tried to clip one over the top. Stayed in for him. In the end, Paikopoulos got a block in and they will reset all over again. Carl Taylor's take. Clark, not so short this time. Fizzed in for Decker at the near post, who got a flash on it. And that is a very tidy takeaway. But Alessi stopped the advance forward with a very tidy challenge, causing a couple of Thunder protests from the bench, which are waved away.
Adam Piddick hasn't been quite animated, as you would expect, this afternoon. Very vocal in his criticisms of referees at times. Here's Carl Taylor. That's a delightful ball. It's Daniel Clark, and it's offside. He has the poise and quality, does Daniel Clark. And so too, Carl Taylor. What a delightful ball. Of course, arrived at the Thunder at the tender age of 25, following a stint at Exeter City in League One. It still feels weird saying that sentence. And had stints at Forest Green Rovers and Southend United, and suffered an ACL injury, which is, I wouldn't say derailed his career, but I also must mention he did feature in a 45-minute cameo in the FA Cup in 2018 against Brighton and Hove Albion. And who featured in that game? None other than Arsenal's new number 14, Victor Gyökeres. Crazy where football can take you. Victory looking to build. A heavy touch from Linus Burke is delivered upon from a Carl Taylor interception. Often here in the NPL Victoria, there's Australian youth internationals that face off against European giants, but the fact that Kyle Taylor has featured in a senior men's football match against Brighton and Hove Albion is, to me, just unbelievable. And it shows and showcases the quality that we have in this competition, where there are players you could argue that are nearly as good as Kyle Taylor at this level. It's a delightful touch by Daniel Clark, who goes to ground. Play waved on. Mihailidis, Lazarevsky bypasses the first line of defence, but the free kick is then awarded. This is a fantastic opportunity for the young Vucks to make their way forward.
For their first time to test Jamie Young this afternoon. Lazarevsky, who was just looking to launch away, held up and fouled by Alessi.
Well, who else but Luka Kolic standing over this one? If there is ever a player to provide joy and cue potential bedlam for the victory, it is this man. Nurtured, grown at Knight Stadium, fully formed and developed at the victory, and can contribute potentially to the demise of his former side if he were able to fashion this one into the back of the net. It is Luka Kolic. It hits the wall and is over the bar and for a corner.
Wall did its job. Kolic got a good bit of loft on it. Had it cleared that wall, it might have very well troubled Jamie Young. Victory corner instead. And a chance to apply some pressure of their own. Fizzed in, not beaten. Edwards as the first man. Yoshida was out. Mihalidis went down, and now all of a sudden Jallo is leading the charge the other way. Yoshida's on the break with him. Clark's trying to join them. Hassan Jallo thought about going all on his own, has got around Razmovsky beautifully. Jallo teased it for Yoshida, who was sliding, and some way, somehow it doesn't find its way in. Neither Yoshida nor Clark could turn it over the line, and Victory have just about got away with one. Van Amerongen wrestling. Edwards. Mehmeti tried to be tidy. Nearly spun Edwards' way, but Razmovsky got in the way and put it into touch.
That was a great tape of one of the Victory under-23 kids that was sitting on the touchline, I had to assume. Nice little catch. Maybe he's a goalkeeper. But
Daniel Alessi is down behind play. Thunder's number 3. He wasn't moving gingerly for much of this afternoon, it has to be said. Has just all of a sudden gone down. Looks like the calf.
Yes, and Daniel Alessi, and seems to be in a bit of strife here. Not good to see if you're a Thunder supporter, of course. They do have Liam Elmazi, among others, who can shape their way into this team, but he looks to be all okay and is ready to go. It's been a very entertainment-fueled last 10 minutes or so. Boris Orostin and his coaching staff watching on with keen intent, and they have one of the most regimented technical setups in the competition. They've got the laptop going. They've got the analysts on the commentary gantry with the laptop as well. It is fantastic to see this level of analysis at NPL level. I compare it to my experience last week when I was at Port Melbourne Sharks, and Maxim Gajdovski's analyst was also on the gantry, live coding the game as I was watching it, which was really amazing. And technological advancement is welcome at this level, I would have to say.
Bozanovsky nodding away as Jallo tried to be a menace again. Alessi just testing out his knee, in fact.
Bit of magic spray?
Bit of magic spray, not the magic sponge anymore. Bozanovsky with a challenge. Seems to be okay, and will continue with Alessi. Burke, Razmovsky. Still 1-0 to Heidelberg as they approach the final 10 minutes, which those of the Thunder persuasion will be watching eagerly because it means they can close the gap to the top 2. Decker's throw. Taylor's touch too heavy. Wall on the challenge. Decker won it back, tried to drive it into Clark. Bozanovsky belted it away. Alessi's first touch since coming back on a loose one. Victory worked their way out of trouble well. Lazarevsky tried to tease one over the top, but it'd take a taller ball to get over Van Amerongen. Mehmeti goes all the way back to Jamie Young. So a little bit of displeasement from Decker, and Young has just about sorted his feet out in the nick of time. Mehmeti, that's a beauty of a ball to find Jallo. Tried to nod it on for Clark. Bozanovsky down only as far as Decker. It was hustled over by Mihalidis. No foul, and he's kept it going. Wall has nearly got away from Edwards, who just got a foot in retreat. Van Amerongen also helped him shut the door. Alessi on for Clark. Nodded it on for Decker, who's tried to go down the line for Jallo, but it was a fraction too early and allowed Bozanovsky to win him.
That's a great switch out to that left side.
Flag went up in the end. Piddick most displeased about that passage.
He makes it very clear when he's not happy with things, and I cannot blame him for that passage of play. Very much lackadaisical, the Thunder, when transitioning the ball forward, and that's sort of reflective in their defensive lapses of judgment, which is, to be honest, they've looked solid, but you never know with these Victory players, especially Patrick Wall, who's just received the ball. That's a very poor mistake from Jamie Young as Lazarevsky heavy touch. That's a big chance given away by the Victory, but Linus Burke comes to intercept Will he look to fashion one in? The lateral ball doesn't meet its intended target. Mihelides now racing down that right flank with technical acumen to boot. Hits the corner flag. It's still in play, although it's now a corner, I believe. Yes. I'm not a referee anymore, so I wouldn't know what the rule is, but there you go.
Victory corner. A couple of protests as well.
Not sure for what, really. It definitely did hit a Thunder player on the way out. And so it will be Patrick Wall to fashion this one in, it seems, at the very least. Striven central, flicked away by the Thunder defence. Now it drops to Kulic. Mihelides forced wide. Can he bypass Hassan Jallo? Doesn't appear that he can initially upon first inspection. I think that's a throw-in, I believe. Or maybe it won't be. It will be... Actually, yes, it will be a throw-in. A bit hard to tell on that far side. Razmovsky. And duly given away by the victory.
It's been the kind of first half where neither side have been able to hit a real rhythm.
Big, big, big news. Ben Collins has been sent off against Avondale. The score is still currently at 1-0, but this means that he'll miss the Doherty Cup final next week against South Melbourne Hellas.
And it means the Heidelberg have to see out the remainder of the day at Avenger Park with 10 men. In a game that they have to win to all but secure top spot on the table.
And Avondale have slotted home a penalty to make it 1-1. Wowee, that does keep the title race in shape at the moment.
It's funny how quickly things can change. All of a sudden, Avondale have the door wide open. Another goal would truly turn that game on its head. Over at Avenger Park, which is running concurrently with this one. Thunder hold a 1-0 lead. 5 minutes out plus stoppage time from half-time. Mehmeti. Van Amerongen. Round the corner for Jamie Young. This is where the Thunder have been tidy so far. They've worked out of the press well, and he's found Edwards, who's taken a touch on the turn. That's a lovely ball to find Yoshida. Decker's up with him. Decker with room to drive. Mehmeti's come to support him. Teased it into Clark. That's a lovely ball. Clark's touch took him wide, flashed it across again. And Williams in the way at the expense of a corner.
We will keep you updated with the Avondale game at the moment, because this is one of the most tantalising 10 minutes of football I think anyone will see. But as things currently stand, it is 1-1. Avondale have just slotted home a penalty, which definitely has an impact upon the Thunder's season as well, if they were to stay in touch with second place as well.
Taylor's corner, as they're looking to do just that. Second before half-time might give some insurance. It's a teasing ball. Thumped away straight back to him. Taylor trying to fashion an angle, recycles it all the way out to Edwards. Kyle Taylor once again. Mehmeti providing support. Quick 1-2 with Decker. No other options but to go all the way home for Chiba. Yoshida. Thunder finds something. Alessi wanted to return it to him. Razmovsky in retreat concedes another corner. With that equaliser, gap at the top is 6 points.
Now it's 3. What a title race this season. It's really been just those two, but the Thunder have come in recent weeks with some galvanising form and a galvanised group. They've only made the 1 or 2 signings mid-season, Michael Donfe and Aguirre Manuel, alongside Lechen Yang, so haven't quite brought in the players like likes of Heidelberg have. It's fashioned in now towards a back stick, and well, that's a very neat clearance away from Daniel Lazarevsky. Did win the foul, but a bit of acrobatics. It's good to see.
Did well as Alessi was lurking too. Not only to shield it, but then also to win the free kick and just relieve some pressure. for a Victory side who have really grown into this first half. They started a touch slowly, went a goal behind in a quarter of an hour, but since then have given every reason that they can get back into this game. Taylor flicked it on for Decker, tried to nod it down for Hassan Jallow. Bozanovsky did well. Edwards up, Taylor again, and once more after a little bit of pinball, Mehmeti tried to spear it for Yoshida or Jallow, but in the end found neither.
Bit of head tennis in the middle there. Maybe foot volley on the horizon, perhaps. I know Gavin Denise does run his foot volley in these parts, in the Dandenong region. There's a header away from Mehmeti, now towards Razmovsky. Under player slips and allows space for Haskavel Jr. Daniel Lazarevsky to bide his time and is awarded the foul in the end. As we approach 44 minutes in this contest, fairly tame in its execution, but the Thunder have been the side that's been on top. And they will have the free kick more or less into the sunsetting sun of Dandenong. It's driven low. That was very tame execution. And might Hassan Jallow break the space past Linus Burke? He can't. But the second ball is picked up by Wade Decker, who feeds it centrally to Hassan Jallow. He has his shirt pulled. Lachlan Keevers says, continue on. Clark, incisive ball. Here's Wade Decker driving towards the byline. And that's well executed by George Mihailidis. And the Victory able to get their defence in order that time.
Cleared for a goal kick. Played it off Decker. Rumour is we're only going to have the 1 minute of stoppage time.
Who have you heard these rumours from?
Fourth official on the touchline.
Did he tell you personally?
He has board in hand. And in about 10 seconds, we'll raise it, hopefully, to confirm my suspicions.
I might just tell him to put an extra minute on there just to throw you off your game.
Kraskowski goes long, and here we are into a minute. Jallow's touchdown for Yoshida. Will the Thunder take one with them? Yuki Yoshida would certainly like to think so. Round the corner for Hassan Jallow. And Kraskowski getting down, made a smart save because Clark was absolutely charging towards the back post to turn in any rebound.
It's the deft touches. It's those 1-2 percenters that sets Yuki Yoshida in a class of his own, really. And that's why he is the marker of a player that just can provide so much joy in those attacking channels, both on the wing and also in that central area. And the resulting corner to arrive now from Merci Mehmeti.
Maybe a last chance of the first half. Mehmeti with depth, unless he got round the back. And once again, Lazarevsky, tasked with marking him, did rather well to just put him off enough, but more importantly, not to impede him too heavily. And in fact, it will be the final knocking of the first half. One which neither side have really been able to get too much of a grip on. The Thunder have had the better chances. Jallow missed one early, and then Yoshida fired in. And currently, he is the difference maker. Half-time on a smashing Saturday at George Andrews. It's Dandenong Thunder 1, Melbourne Victory 0.
Let's go!
Second half at George Andrews Reserve. The Thunder 1-0 up against Victory. All thanks to Yuki Yoshida, his 12th of the campaign, firing in for Adam Piddick's side, who couldn't quite find their rhythm in the first half. The second 45, they will be hoping is more fruitful. But massive news before any of that at Avenger Park. Avondale, in the final minute of stoppage time, have scored to all but secure a win against Heidelberg, and Thunder are on the march to try and get themselves a second early, but Clark's ball for Chiba is too long.
That is the first match that Heidelberg United have lost since round 1 of the NPL Victoria, in the NPL specifically. And also they lost to Dandenong Thunder as well in the Cup. But that's what Thunder fans will want you to hear. But this is the last game lost to the NPL was in round 1 against the Melbourne Knights. This means that Avondale take back the lead at the top of the table on goal difference. They are currently on 33 goal difference, and Heidelberg are on 30. So going into the final 2 rounds, Avondale essentially hold destiny in the palm of their hands. As for the final 2 games of the season, Heidelberg United face off against the Oakley Cannons on next round on the 15th of August. Avondale face off against South Melbourne on the 17th on the Sunday. And then the final round, Heidelberg take on Port Melbourne and Avondale take on Green Gully. So essentially you'd have to say it's that the next round of fixtures in 2 weeks that will determine the fate of both sides. It is one of those stand-alone NPL Victoria moments that will be secured in the inches of time forever, and Stefan Valentini will be etched into Avondale folklore if he wasn't already. 103rd minute goal is just remarkable viewing, as Victory able to win it back following misplaced pass by Jamie Young out towards that right-hand side. Shaped in nicely and falls kindly for Mihalidis. Tricky footwork, but isn't able to fire it forward. John Kellis has made his way onto the park, I believe. The Glenara Jr., an ex-Melbourne City attacker. Here is Yuki Uchida down that left flank, running with pace. Decker looking towards the byline, and Linus Burke is able to intercept and secure the Thunder a duly deserved corner after that ramble. Ethan Rigg. Where does that leave Heidelberg United in their fight for the Australian Championship if the Thunder do win tonight? They'll be within 5 points. It's a faint hope, but it's a distinct one.
Mathematically, it's still possible. If it stays like this anyway, Heidelberg, with a win, would have confirmed their status. And they took the perfect start. They were a goal up. But an amazing Avondale turnaround means that it still hangs in the balance. Taylor's got a corner, and the Thunder have a chance to add a second. Into the near post. Clark was there. Didn't get a touch on it. Graskowski did well. Comes all the way back up for Taylor to reload it again. Jallow this time. Graskowski with a spill and a stumble. And in the end, a goal kick.
I think looking upon this game this afternoon, it's been an interesting turn of events, really. I think the Victory do have the pace and the regimented setup to get a result, but it's just that inexperience that's really beguiled them, and it might do so this afternoon, but especially with a ball like that, more balls like that directed further wide will provide much intention going forward for the away side. But the Thunder need to assert and really take this game by the horns if they want to secure another victory at home. Here's Bozanovsky stepping past halfway. He's got Bakopoulos running forward, who's in an onside position and has been brought to ground by Mercier Mehmeti. Lachlan Keevers was waiting to blow his whistle. He eventually did so. Here's Patrick Wall, throws it for Mihalidis to take. And now will be in fact, it will be a Thunder throw. Oh, I think the assistant on the far side's made a mistake and has directed that to the Victory corner as the ball is shaped in towards Lazarevsky, and Rongan in the way. Now Bozanovsky shaping it back now for Parker Williams. And the victory will reset through young Daniel Gaskowski, of course, Joey, and formerly of Northcote City's youth system. And Uchida able to intercept. His first touch was not so great. The second one delightful, and the third even more sublime. It's a nice little triangle executed by the Thunder. Edwards now to Clark. Out wide, Decker. And here is Clark again with space on that left flank. Shapes one in diligently towards the backstick. It evaded Uchida and Benjiba. But I think the last touch did come off a victory player.
Paikopoulos with an important intervention. Yoshida timed his run excellently. It just had too much height for him. Jiba was the one just waiting at the back post to turn it in. Paikopoulos conceding a corner, but it could have been so much worse for victory. Instead, they now have another set piece to defend. Be Mehmeti to take. Mehmeti again at that near post. And we'll reset and do it all over again. Wall the one in the way this time. Thunder have gone to that front post a lot from their set pieces so far. The only one with depth was Mehmeti's before half time. And this time, driven lower. Vanna Morongan got up, but couldn't turn it in. Got a touch on it, but it was wide of the post.
I guess it was, and Thunder really knocking on the door here. Asking questions of a potential second goal. It's really set the cat amongst the pigeons. Paikopoulos and Piddick has said, well, this will mount the press now. Alessi rising highest. Gorevsky, who's also made his way onto the park, has seen the ball forward. It's played out wide, but to no one in pursuit it has been, and Lachlan Keevers is going to judge a Thunder throw for Benjiba, the ex-South Melbourne youth product. Was released by Esteban Quintas a few seasons ago and trialled at the Oakland Cannons and has found his career best form here at the Thunder. Here's Jiba again. Looking down the line. It's hooked towards Paikopoulos. And Alessi under some pressure here to play the ball forward, but eventually it's Parker Williams who was able to interject. Of course, Alessi, a former youth product of, well, youth product, senior product of Hakoah Sydney City East FC. And I'll give you an interesting fact about Mr. Daniel Alessi. He also played in the Young Socceroos 17 caps and played with Awa Mabil, Chris Economides, among others. So, litany of stars. Well, you wouldn't say quite for Chris Economides anymore, but Awa Mabil is strutting in the second division of Spain, I believe, at the moment. So, it's good to see.
Here is Alessi again. Tried to find Decker. Gave it away to Mihalidis. Burke. Tried to be tidy. Alessi with the challenge. Edwards there to mop it up. Found Yoshida, who had a cul-de-sac but had Jallo down the line. Hassan Jallo trying to get on the march. Fizz one across. Bozanovsky there to make the intervention. Hassan Jallo finally was able to spin away, as was Lazarevsky. It's a searching ball for Wall, but Jamie Young quickly off his line to mop it up. Chiba, Alessi, Yoshida momentarily on the march. However, Parker Williams got across. Paikopoulos again searching over the top. That's a lovely ball. Wall's take was wonderful too. Van Amerongen stayed with him all the way and was able to get the clearance in.
Interesting to note how Jamie Young just covers his penalty box so well. He's done a really good job of that in recent weeks, and I do remember against Port Melbourne. Hold on here as Lazarevsky looks to fire one in, and driven low. He was sitting on the halfway line the entire time, was Jamie Young. And that, what I felt, was sort of just a moniker of how he wants to set his defence up. Of course, he's not the captain in nature, but the way in which he is able to marshal his back line is leading with an iron fist, you would say. So As Jibba bypasses the first challenge faced. Edwards. Van Amerongen out wide. Space opening up for Mercier Mehmeti. Looks to feed one inside. And it's Graskowski. Oh, he dropped the ball. But fortunately for him, it was just inside of his penalty box. Space opening up on that left and right flank for the victory, but they've yet to really come out in transition in spades as you see a ball hooved high and wide, it seems now. Decker, Bozanovsky, Gorevsky. It's a nice little touch and space for the victory down that left flank. To left-hand side, it's feed inside briefly for John Kellis. And Yuki Uchida is able to mop up and send it wide. Hassan Jallo just on halfway, has his shirt pulled, and play continues. Mihalidis is able to pick up the scraps. Bozanovsky. Ball weighted well. The 1-2 executed to effect. Well, not quite a 1-2 in nature. Oh, and that is a very bad touch. And Lucas Alessi just completely overcooked that ball.
Sliced it the wrong way, Alessi. He wanted to wrap his foot around it instead. Gifted the Thunder possession just when Victory were looking to build some pressure. Clark got it back to Decker. Bozanovsky. Michalidis with room to turn. Again, just had no options moving forward for him. Burke back for Bozanovsky. Paikopoulos has made that run and he's been found by a smashing ball, but Jiba again across to make the intervention. First 10 minutes of this second half followed similar vein to the final 10 of the first. A little bit scrappy, but there's some room for Gorevsky, who's got away from Taylor. Tried to be tidy with it and was nearly, ever so nearly incisive enough to find Lazarevsky. But it was a fraction too heavy and instead will trickle out for a goal kick. Victory looking to snap a really horrible run of one win in 13 games. It's the most wretched rot in the division. Something which was kick-started by the return fixture at the home of the Matildas. That 7-goal thriller, which Thunder won 4-3. Yoshida couldn't get away from Gorevsky, who's cleared it only as far as Edwards. His touch was loose and has invited Kellis to win it. Victory maybe with a chance to go on the break. Lazarevsky on for Linus Burke, who went with an early ball towards Kellis, but it was too long and too deep.
Victory playing with a bit more spring in their step going forward. Those two changes at half-time has seemingly benefited them with space in transition. But it's just the final ball and the final touch that has really evaded them as things currently stand. As Jamie Young is going to pick up the ball and start the routine again and again, as we've seen so much tonight. Here is Young again. Van Amerongen. Mehmeti fires it long. And chasing Hassan Jallo is able to bypass Parker Williams. Here's Hassan Jallo, although couldn't quite get full touch of the football. But that was a near assist for Jamie Young. Wowee. These things do happen. They're very fascinating to see how the Victory defence was not all too composed to contend with Hassan Jallo, and they could be in again. Here's Carl Taylor. We're going to break inside the box. It's Hassan Jallo! And most definitely, it is 2-0. Jallo and Taylor combining. Excellence was force, and a duly deserved double for the Thunder.
Another giveaway from Victory in the middle of the park, opened it up. Kyle Taylor just took his time, took the yards that were available to him, rolled it ever so coolly into Hassan Jallo, who timed his peel off to perfection. And having missed one chance early this afternoon has wrapped in his second real look with authority. Number 12 of the season for the Thunder's top marksman. Victory might have a problem as well, having not just conceded the second. They have a man down. It's the woes for the what was the afternoon, now turned early evening. Deepen ever so slightly. Brilliantly crafted. And the second it was picked off, the room opened up. And for Jallo, sometimes if you've missed one early, you can snatch at the second. That one was slotted away superbly. Parker Williams might have a problem. And in fact, he's making way.
For Nicholas Selivovic, cool. Intriguing change to make, and of course with Parker Williams not okay to continue. This is not the worst change you can make at this time. He's sort of broken his way into the team in recent months. And will partner himself alongside Damian Bozanovsky at the centre of defence.
Thunder on the hour. Have a 2-goal lead. And Victory, having made 2 changes at half-time, are forced into a third. Quarter of an hour into the second period.
I think just about we can say that those 3 at the bottom are more or less locks, or say, to go down, barring a miraculous few games from Port Melbourne. I don't exactly see any of these sides staying up, and I don't mean to say that as a means of criticism. It's just fact. I think the Victory have fought immensely hard in this division. It is the most difficult league to play in Australia from a toughness and rigidity standpoint. But these boys have held their own so well. And tonight they've also held their own in many respects.
They have a free kick, maybe a chance to halve the deficit. That effort from Alessi trying to catch Jamie Young off guard. And that's a super ball from Young in return to find Yoshida, who's got room. Jallo's in the middle, Clark and Decker bombing forward. Alessi, to his credit, made a superb challenge in recovery. This ball down the line, however, invited Edwards to go and win it back. Chiba. Taylor. Happy to take his time and recycle it all the way to Van Amerongen. Victory 2 down against the side who, whenever they've played the bottom 3, score on average 4 goals a game. Very few are more prolific against the sides further down in the relegation zone than the Thunder. And Chiba has got beyond Alessi with ease. Tried to tease one down the line for Yoshida. Bozanovsky got across to see it out of play.
From the Victory, I would definitely bring on one of Tabena Abani or James Lackey. It's a dangerous player to bring on. Has pace, ferocity, and passion, and was very good against the Preston Lions last time out, last week. Of course, how about that goal from Jonas Markovski to break the deadlock? It was a narrow loss and a good crowd at Jenna Steele Stadium. Savizovic playing it wide. It's Wade Decker, Edwards. Able to shape it backwards for Mehmeti and Van Amerongen. Back out to Jamie Young. Again, his distribution has been more or less on point, or bar that instance as Mehmeti fires the ball over the top. Savizovic back to Daniel Graskowski. The Thunder mounting the press down that left flank. They are able to briefly win it back by virtue of a throw-in. To play it quickly. Here's Clark. Most definitely misdirected and hits the fencing at the top. I wouldn't say it's fencing. It's more so just a barrier. How about the sunset, Ethan? In Dandenong, it certainly paints a picturesque picture.
It certainly is a picturesque Saturday in this part of the world. And the Thunder are looking to add a picture book third. Yoshida might have a go from range, you know. That's a brilliant save. Graskowski getting down and pushing it away for a corner. Opened up invitingly for Yuki Yoshida, who's after his second of the night. Of the afternoon, should I say. Thunder prepping a change. Yoshida, his afternoon may be done. Romanovsky is getting its final instructions. But first, Kyle Taylor has a corner to take. Taylor with a lot more depth. Alessi's round the back and being grappled. But once again, Lazarevsky did rather well. Allowed his keeper to claim it, and he's refound him. Lazarevsky on the charge. Yoshida with a tidy challenge to halt it momentarily. Paikopoulos down the line for Mihalidis. Teasing early ball towards the back post. It will stay alive for Alessi, who's hooked it back in. Daniel Alessi with the clearance. Mihalidis dragged the shot.
His eyes lit up for the shot, but were it not to be so, Yuki Uchida, what an immense performance yet again from a Japanese import tonight. It has been a tale in which we've been so used to for the majority of the season. And he comes off with Jane Romanovsky, not quite a like-for-like switch, but it'll be intriguing to see if Romanovsky plays in that number 10 role, or if he's able to be shifted to that left or right channel. It does seem as if left channel is his place. The former Port Melbourne junior. I'm intrigued to see how him and Benjiba link up. As they continue now, here's Decker. Jiba. His Tony circle was executed pretty cleanly, and Victory do win it back. Paikopoulos. Now to the Victory bench again.
Jiba might have just signalled to the bench. Something's not quite right.
Oi. It's a good pickup, Ethan. Hopefully it doesn't lead to more injury struggles for the Dandenong Thunder. And it looks like George Mihalidis is requiring attention as well, as Lachlan Keevers ushers over the physio. Gives us the time to relax, subdue the pressure, and I guess assess the next few weeks of football. Ethan Rigg. It's going to be an interesting few weeks with the Doherty Cup and Nike FC Cup finals next week. South Melbourne Hellas against Heidelberg United, as well as the Cecil Ely Plate and the Steph Catley Plate. We also have 4 Australia Cup fixtures involving NPL Victoria teams, or /VPL2 teams, all of which are playing at home. So it's going to be a fascinating 2 weeks in Victorian football. I'm very excited. Yeah, what a time to be alive, I suppose.
It's a massive fortnight of football in this state in particular. As the NPL season draws to the close, as you've mentioned, 2 massive cup finals, a lot of Australia Cup as well. Just on that, on maybe a more sour note, just as we'd suspected, Benjiba did in fact go down. Something's not quite right, as he's just returned. Ali Suleimani, who had his own injury struggles this season, makes his way on.
Mihalidis seems to be okay though. Maybe just more of an insurance plan for Benjiba. I mean, they will be playing finals, and they will likely have a home final, either in the elimination form or the actual finals itself. But yes, and Hassan Jallo also making way for Michael Domfe, Western Australian, formerly of Florida Athena, Northcote City, and Hume City. Of course, Domfe linked up with Yuki Uchida last season, and that Northcote City team, which nearly got promoted, finished in 4th place in VPL 1. And looks like we'll also see the introduction of James Lake, of course, as well. The ex-Green Gully fullback / winger, and was involved in the FC Bayern World Challenge last year. So was in and around the team there. Here's Domfe. That's an excellent header down to find Wade Decker. Sprayed out wide. Romanovsky, we tasked with the delivery. You would expect. In fact, it might not be so. Here is Clark on his right foot. Shapes one in nicely. It's Michael Domfe. not quite cleared off the line by the Victory. But they will continue their pursuit forward. Albeit Ali Suleimani receives into touch down this byline region. Paikopoulos able to interject. Calls for a handball against Lazarevski. A judge to hit his shoulder. This ball is sent long towards Van Amerongen, and Jamie Young will take his time.
Mehmeti. Down the line for Kyle Taylor. Romanovski just gave him a run momentarily. Edwards. Van Amerongen. Victory really having to wait to make that change. Decker's dropped in wonderfully. Suleimani is on the right-hand side. Domfes centrally too. This time for Suleimani. He tried the 1-2. Bozanovski got across. Tidy touch as well for Mihalidis. It has room to roam. Smashing ball all the way out to Burke. Can Victory maybe give themselves 20 minutes or so to halve the deficit? Suleimani at the back stick, heading away. Alessi. Still trying to find an opening. Paikopoulos' ball this time. Alessi up again. Might draw for Mihalidis, didn't get a clean connection. Van Amerongen hooked it away. Thought it might be coming straight back, but Romanovski won it up, then nearly won it back. Instead has lost out to all. Had two around him, got beyond both of them. Walsh tried to stab onto Alessi, but again, too long and goes out for a goal kick. They will, however, be able to make their change, Melbourne Victory. James Lackey coming on for George Mihalidis. We thought that might be the substitution. Mihalidis was just moving a fraction gingerly.
Very tidy on the ball, though, is George Mihalidis, and you should be very happy with his output, of course, since returning from overseas. But the Victory, if now is the time, most certainly will be. It looks like James Lackey is going to be taking shape on that left-hand side as well, as shaped out towards Kyle Taylor, who's got to stride forward. He's got space on that left flank. Edwards. Van Amerongen. Mehmeti. What a touch from Kyle Taylor, although diligently played by Charlie Gorevsky. Just going to send that onto the back pitch, essentially, at Dandenong Thunder, and we'll see another introduction of another Dandenong Thunder player in a few moments as well.
Aguirre Manuel Aguirre, looking like the person who will come on for the Thunder. As well as that, Septimus Miley being prepped. Alessi in rather robustly and has given away a free kick. Thunder will have to wait to make those two changes. Bozanovski. Long for Paikopoulos, who's got around Suleimani the first time, but then kept the door open for the second attempt, and Suleimani tried to go down the line for Decker. They run out of room and concede possession. The Thunder will make those changes now. Aguirre Manuel comes on for Daniel Clark, whose day is done. Another tidy performance from one of Thunder's more experienced campaigners. And Aidan Edwards, his day in the middle of the park is done for Septim Ismaili. Piddick running the changes with around a quarter of an hour to go. Paikopoulos' throw. Wanted Wall wrestled with Van Amerongen, who came across at the second attempt. So just close the door on Lazarevski's ball back, but it will give Victory a corner. As floodlights come on at George Andrews, it's gotten rather frosty here all of a sudden.
It has, yes. I think wearing the initial jumper was a good choice. I think might have needed a bit more protection tonight. It's getting a bit nippy.
Victory corner fizzed into the near post. Ismaili's first involvement is to clear his lines. Suleimani battled. Maniel's done well. Has just about managed to keep it. Decker on for Donfe. Romanovski's roaming through the middle. Paikopoulos got the slide in. It somehow stayed alive, but then Paikopoulos' challenge just did enough to get a heavy touch on it and see it out for a victory throw.
Surprised that Michael Donfe didn't play the ball through for Jay Romanovski. That was the definite right play to make, but the question is, was he onside? So rather to be safe than be sorry. And fortunately for the Thunder, they're still able to retain possession here through Jamie Young. Being a bit cheeky with Daniel Lazarevski. Inviting pressure and then forcing it out wide now for custodian Ali Suleimani. That's a delightful ball for Decker. He's able to break the space. It's Wade Decker! Just bides his time in Aguirre Manuel, and he points to the spot. Does Lockie Keevers. I'm not quite sure what happened within the box. The attention was directed towards the ball, but an off-the-ball challenge has led Wade Decker to win a penalty for his home side.
Decker was bundled over, and having got back to his feet, immediately picked up the ball. Chance for their third of the afternoon. He fancies another. Wants number 6 for the season. And this an opportunity from the spot. Graskowski just giving his instructions. A hush. It's Decker's spot kick. Drilled in with certainty. 3 goals and they're on their way to 3 points. On another emphatic afternoon for the Thunder.
All too clean. Alex Lamani, delightful ball. Shaping outside of the Victory defence into the feet of Wade Decker, who has that poise and quality, the Sri Lankan international, to feed his way inside. Wasn't a goal in open play, but they all count. And the Victory left to rue yet again. Doesn't form quite the same complexion as that night at the home of the Matildas several months ago. And that's the 7th goal conceded in 2 games against this Dandenong Thunder side, which has fought diligently throughout the 77 minutes so far to earn themselves a sufficient 3-0 lead as it currently stands. Donfe chasing Bozanovski. That nearly hit the camera, although it just did rise over the bar. I'm sure that would have created a very intriguing visual. Suleimani. It's Wade Decker. Lackey wins in that instance. Lazarevski with the near first-time ball. Van Amerongen so composed. Young. Victory pressing with intent. Kellis joining the press as well. Gorevsky. The delightful first touch. But Cheapy gives away possession. Here's Romanovski. Inside for Sevdim Ismaili. And laterally, it's Van Amerongen yet again. Lines the ball on the deck. Out wide to Mehmeti. Nearly stumbled my words there. Taylor. Dictating tempo, this Thunder team. It's almost like they're playing with an extra man advantage, really. Romanovski. Inside is Maley. Out to Jamie Young, who's slightly a fish out of water. Decide to go long, and I think Carl Taylor has beaten the offside trap. He's bearing down on goal, and he slots home with absolute poise and conviction. The Englishman with a goal and an assist tonight in this second half. And it's the Thunder's fourth as they march towards at least a third-place finish in the NPL Victoria.
Terrifically timed run from Taylor. The ball to find him as well from Alessi is an absolute perler. Drilled through the defence, had too much height for Bozinovski. Taylor beats the offside trap and then rolls it with class and with coolness via the post into the net. And for the Thunder, it is a fab fourth. And once again, they have run riot against the side in the relegation zone. 4 on the night. And they've been simply superb, especially in this second half, where in the first, they couldn't quite get out of first gear.
No, they couldn't, and I think it's as the case has been for the majority, if not the entirety of this season. Victory don't have the requisite experience to carry themselves through games, and there are very few players within this team that, let's be honest, Ethan, will make an A-League squad. I don't believe there were any players in the last season, in the last sort of 5 months of the Isuzu A-League season, that were able to break their way into the senior team, as you see Michael Domfe absolutely clattered by Damian Bozinovski. It's very difficult for players to break into the first team, and I think that's the mantra of Arthur Dillies, is to integrate these young players, and that has sort of been something that has been demonstrated in recent weeks. I think that Wrexham friendly was a really good showing for the likes of Tomasa Minatoli and many others to get some senior experience. But look at this NPL team. There are some standout players. Patrick Wall, you have to say, at his age, is very likely to get A-League experience down the line. And we do see the Victory now on that far right-hand side is Wall, delightful ball towards Lazarevsky. Across for John Kellis! Oh, what a finish! John Kellis, welcome to the Melbourne Victory. And that is rifled the crossbar and fell in. Incredible.
Brilliant finish. And it's the one thing that Victory have lacked throughout the afternoon. That final ball. This time, the cutback was perfect. The finish via the underside of the bar was an absolute belter. And Kellis has looked lively since coming on. Blemishes the Thunder's clean sheet. They were going for a 5th clean sheet at home. Dandenong Thunder would have taken them level with Preston and with Altona.
Yes.
For the most home clean sheets in the division, but that remains at 4.
They couldn't, could they? They couldn't, surely not. They couldn't slot another 3 past Jamie Young, you'd have to think at this point, but anything's possible in this league.
Romanovski for Decker. The Thunder are looking for a 5th and a quick reply. Ismaili's advanced. Suleimani's also up with him. Romanovski's driving through the middle. Chooses Suleimani instead. And Paikopoulos in retreat makes the challenge. Just open Victory up so quickly. Concession of a goal, even when you're 4-0 up, could bring some nerves, but not on this occasion. Decker. Suleimani. Tidy return. Away Decker once again. Trickle out for a goal kick. He might have got the final touch. And for these two, this is the final time Thunder will be at home before the finals. They go to St Albans next week before heading to Preston on the final day. And what a game that could be.
Yes. Yes, finals invitations everywhere, Ethan. It's rampant.
Van Amerongen in on the recovery slide, and for Victory, they go to Hume next week and then host Dandenong City for the final game of the season. They will need to win both and hope that Altona fail to pick up any points for safety. Romanovski hooking it away. Domfe backed into by Bozinovski. Then battling well enough not to foul and to win it back. Has found Romanovski. Manuel's up with him. Decker also getting on the advance. Call from Soleimani on the far side is to keep it. Mehmeti. Ismaili. For Alessi, they could go out the other way. Instead, the Thunder's turn to exercise some patience.
Oh, why not? I think you need to conserve the legs. They will be the team that's actually got the most amount of time in the remaining weeks.
It's Decker. Fizzed one across. That's tidy goalkeeping from Graskowski, who could have spilled it and would have spilled it into a dangerous position.
He definitely could, and I think, as I was saying, I think the Thunder with, I guess, advantage, disadvantage of cup football, they don't have that. So it's a beneficial way to sort of subdue the amount of injuries that might happen. Avondale and Heidelberg have got cup games in the next few weeks. I mean, Heidelberg have got heavy fixture congestion, so does South Melbourne. So I guess that helps their fortunes, most definitely. But I guess it remains to be seen as to how they shape in finals. We haven't seen them in finals for so many years now in the NPL era. So
Romanovski took a slip and a stumble and kept the door open. The chance should be made by Lackey, who did well. Alessi tried to switch it. Domfair won it back and then gave it away while trying to find Taylor. Alessi, that's a much better ball. It's given Kellis something to go after. Waited on his options to arrive. Kellis for the back post. Lackey's got up off the bar. Lackey's rattled it into the bar. Couple of shots for handball waved away. Decker wanted to come away with it and did well to win the free kick.
As the great Andy Harper says, he rose like a sporting salmon, did James Lackey. That was an immense leap. And just very unfortunate to hit the crossbar. It's worked in their favour tonight, but it hasn't at some points. Has been lively since he's come on as the youngster. But the name of the game, really, tired legs. The game is very much opening up in these last 10 minutes or so, and that is reflected very much in the scoreline, and sort of feels as if the sun is setting not just on this game tonight, but the season for these two sides. Both of their fates more or less realised. The victory, their fate is essentially secured, unless they can perform some miracles in terms of a goal difference. But yeah, it's one of those things that you can't really put your finger on it as to why they're in this position. But the only thing to really put it down to, Ethan, I think, is experience and maybe some poor decision-making in terms of players that were utilised and that were taken out of the team. It's very hard to derive consistency when you have Jing Reek starting one week, and then it's Tomasa Minatoli, then it's Daniel Lazarevsky, and it's Charlie Gorevsky one week. I think the amount of players that they've used across the season is very much reflective in that lack of rigidity that they've had in games as well.
Cohesion and consistency in this division certainly is key. And you see the two, I guess, opposites of that at the moment. Victory with a lot of rotation, a lot of players getting A-League call-ups. Reese was one of them. For the Thunder, Piddick's been afforded the luxury of having most players available most weeks. Domfair gave it away to Burke. Kellis. Can Victory get another before we hit stoppage time? Again, look for Lackey. Soleimani nodded it away. Alessi picked it up. And again, the Thunder just trying to play their way out of the press. Taylor, Alessi, Decker. Dummy might not have been the right move, but it'll trickle out of play. Victory in a hurry. Gorevsky. Sefizovic. And Burke once again. And of those 3 minutes, in fact, sorry, of that stoppage time, we'll be rooming about 3 minutes on what has been a really lovely Saturday afternoon and early Saturday evening in the southeast. Unfortunately, if you're of the Victory persuasion, not a fruitful one, but for the Thunder, it all but guarantees a top 3 finish As long as it stays like this, they stay 5 points clear of Oakley. They move within 5 at the top. It would take a long shot, but it is still possible with 2 to play, and you just never know.
Well, as it currently stands, they're 6 points behind the Altona Magic. They will require 2 wins in 2 games, no less. And they'll have to win by some margins to overtake the Altona Magic. Although it's not exactly impossible. Victory currently sit at a minus 22 goal difference. The Magic minus 18. So stranger things have happened in this league, although I think you can just about book it. I mean, what we've seen in NPL New South Wales is when teams like Sydney FC specifically have faced the prospect of relegation, they played all the A-League Academy players like Jaden Kacharski, and they won games. So I don't know why the Victory haven't done that, playing the likes of Geordie Valadon, etc. But it's maybe not just as beneficial to do in this climate, especially. Does that mean Victory don't care about the NPL? I wouldn't say so. But, yeah, it's a fascinating dilemma to have. And with City potentially coming up next season, yeah, will be an interesting space to view.
Lovely turn from Ismaili. Moved it on for Decker. We're into stoppage time. Well, the Thunder going to take one for the road. Fist in towards Manuel, who did well to make it work. Gave it back out for Mehmeti. Kellis in to make the block. They're in a hurry. Decker, does he want a double? Decker shifting it onto his left. Forced the challenge. Getting hooked away. Only as far as Taylor. Alessi. Back for Kyle Taylor, who's had a terrific second half.
A real hustle and bustle player is Kyle Taylor, and receives in space again, looking to drive. Decides to switch it all the way towards Wayne Decker, who's held quite deep. Mehmeti now on that left-hand flank. Shapes one in for Zevezovic to get clear. Get as far as Ismaili. Decker. Kellis. The back heel to no one in pursuit, and the Thunder will reset. Now it is with Thijs van Amerongen. And you notice as the second half continues to go longer and longer, Jamie Young just comes out of his box more and more and more, toying with the Victory defence, although this might not exactly bear fruit for them. Kellis, that's a delightful touch, and strides forward with pace and ferocity, and was brought down, no foul awarded, although most certainly that will be a foul.
Ismaili just wearing one from Alessi, who was retreating. Taylor. You can really feel both teams just wanting to trickle down the seconds. Domfe, that's a tidy touch for Decker, who wanted Suleimani. Cut out well by Lackey. All the way back, and that will be that. The Thunder round out the season at home with a win. They are unbeaten on this ground. And for Melbourne Victory, they stay 6 points from safety. Maybe time might be running out for their survival push. But for the Thunder, they are a win away from a top 3 finish. They move within 5 points of the top 2 after yet another massive win here. They are certainly looking forward to the finals. They will go on the road before you feel they return back to this place. But full time at George Andrews, it's Dandenong Thunder 4. Melbourne Victory 1.